Hey everybody, and welcome to Josh's Modern Marvel. Now this is the first episode, so I just want to clear things up. First off, I'm going to try and focus on positive reviews of good comics. Secondly, the name might be Modern Marvel, but I'm not going to limit myself to Marvel Comics. As far as naming goes, it sounds a whole lot better than Josh's Modern Dark Horse though. Now, since this is the first edition, I felt it'd be nice to start off with one of my favorite comic series that is out today. We will be looking at the current Ghost Rider series. Yes, Ghost Rider. Well, the Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider, anyway. A history lesson for those of you guys who are unfamiliar. There have been two different famous Ghost Riders. Johnny Blaze, who sold his soul to the demon Mephisto, aka the Marvel Universe's devil, as well as Danny Ketch, his long-lost brother who got his powers by touching a magical gas cap. They had slightly different abilities, and I think the one that everybody thinks of when they conjure up a picture of Ghost Rider in their mind is Danny, the one with the tricked out motorcycle with a battering ram on it, the leather jacket, and the chains. They have both gone through some changes though, and this is what Johnny looks like currently. And with the change in look, he also got a couple upgrades. Like now he has a chain, as well as having the penance stare, which makes people relive the pain they inflicted on others. Anyway, the series begins with Mr. Blaze, who is having a rather unpleasant time in hell. He ends up breaking out, but he also ends up bringing the devil into our plane of existence, except the devil is too big for the earth plane or something like that. And so he splits into 666 different pieces, and takes over the bodies of recently dead people. Okay, now this sounds cool, and it was, but that particular story arc ended, and then Ghost Rider got to be pretty ridiculous. Now this is where canon begins to change a lot. The power of the Ghost Rider isn't from hell. It's from heaven. Yep, it wasn't the devil that gave Johnny the powers that he would have inherited eventually. It was the heavenly host giving certain people a little bit of the power of God. An archangel of the black host named Zadkiel wants to take over heaven and become God. And there are multiple Ghost Riders active at any given time that mirror their religious beliefs. The series grew in scope, and added to, and sometimes just plain rewrote the Ghost Rider mythos, which was already confusing as hell. Literally. Oh, and it turns out that Danny returns as a new Ghost Rider with Blue Flames working for Zadkiel. Needless to say, there are some seriously epic moments coming up. Reviewing this whole series was a bit difficult because the writers and artists change every so often, but there are some things that remain a constant. The art is generally pretty good, with some differences in style depending on which issues you pick up. The covers are, for the most part, are incredibly drawn, and I look forward to seeing what sort of monumentally awesome thing that the Ghost Rider is portrayed doing this issue. Although, to be honest, some are kind of hit and miss. As far as content goes, hey, it's Ghost Rider. That is to say that it's full of action and flaming skulls with a bit of pseudo-religious overtone thrown in. But that's not to say that it doesn't have its weaknesses. A friend of mine once asked me why I like Ghost Rider so much, and then went on to say that he seemed kind of bland, which I can agree with as far as character development is concerned. Johnny Blaze and the supporting cast are pretty one-dimensional, with very little development going on during the plot itself. Generally, you get a backstory at best, and then you roll with it, which makes it hard to care about the characters. When one of them dies, it's more of a novelty than anything else. But really, is that why you would pick up a Ghost Rider comic book? To learn more about Blaze? Well, pretty much. But I can look past it when the writer comes out and starts being a badass, which he does a lot as of late. In the series, it hasn't been uncommon to get a couple lines of text from Blaze, and then the rest of the text from the writer itself, which personally I can deal with. However, due to recent events, I do have reason to believe that there will be a lot more of Johnny Blaze character development. If any of you read issue 32, you will know why, and for those of you who haven't, I really don't want to spoil it for you. The tales are grim and dark, but not overly so, depending on the different writers, which I think is both a blessing and a curse. It's not so incredibly gritty that it would deter most readers, although sometimes the story is slowed down by things that I can only guess are there to try and add a bit of levity, like this page that shows other Marvel characters reacting to the changes going on in heaven. My favorite is the Punisher down there, who refuses to admit he feels anything different and keeps butchering some poor henchman. One of my favorite new additions to canon has to be the various new Ghost Riders that exist, like the Russian Ghost Rider that rides a bear and has that awesome furry hat. Wait, is that a Ghost Rider riding on a shark? Is that the Atlantean Ghost Rider? Either way, it's a Ghost Rider on a great white. We even get a history lesson on some of the North American Ghost Riders that have existed, like the Ghost Flyer, the World War I biplane pilot. Come along, you Prussian Nazis! The Ghost Flyer thirsts for Luftwaffe blood! And the undead G-Man and his midget-slash-child sidekick, Knuckles O'Shaughnessy. I doubt I'm the only one that thinks seeing some one-shot series of other Ghost Riders would be fun. They even reference a limited series called Ghost Rider Trail of Tears, which was just that, and I also found it to be quite enjoyable, although a lot darker. And as if shark riding Ghost Rider wasn't ridiculous enough for you, there's much more. This comic can be quite ludicrous at times, which, to be perfectly honest, is quite fine by me. Take, for instance, the new caretaker is a nun named Sarah, who hails from a nunnery where all the nuns are taught martial arts. Kinda gives new meaning to nunchuck. She then gets a dream from her grandfather she never knew and shows up just in time for him to die doing his best Clint Eastwood impression. "This is a shotgun that shoots hellfire. You'd best get off my lawn, or else be buried under it." When he dies, she absorbs all of his knowledge and becomes the next caretaker. Still not satisfied with the oddities yet? Not implausible enough for you? How about Johnny Blaze and Danny Ketch putting the fate of both Earth and Heaven as the stakes for a motorcycle race literally around the world, only for it to be stopped in the Siberian desert by an American ex-cop with a hook for a hand who had been waiting in the particular spot for a while after being put there by the minions of Zadkiel. Really? A race around the whole world? Was that really necessary? Let me get this straight. You're talking about wagering the fates of all these people and all the billions of souls in heaven and perhaps the future of our entire plane of existence on the outcome of a single motorcycle race. Yeah, what do you say? Sounds reasonable to me. See you at the finish line. Oh, and I almost forgot. Terminator-ish Ghost Riders of the future coming back in time to give our Sarah Connor a message that she sent herself from the future, and one of them asks whether or not they'd been invaded by Skrulls yet. Secret invasion. Yep, fun stuff, but to balance out the out-there-ness, some moments in the comic can be deep as well, asking questions like, should suicide really be a sin, and how can all the religions of the world coexist peacefully? You know what? Since the power of the Ghost Rider isn't really from hell anymore, I think I'll just call up old Mephisto to see if he has any available. What was the number again? Oh yeah, 666. Hello? Yes, this is a call for Lucifer. Oh, yes, hello. I was wondering if you had any powers for sale. Yes, I do know the usual payment method. Well, actually, Mr. Beelzebub, I was wondering if you had any powers if I just rented you my soul, kind of like Spawn. Yes, I know it isn't how it usually works. Yes, he was a special case. No, I'm not married. So you do have some that are rentable. What do you mean all you have is ciphers from X-Men's power? No, I don't really want super translation powers. Oh, okay, you found one more. Really? Heart? You want me to rent out my soul for Heart? What kind of a power is Heart anyway? Well, Big D, I think I'll definitely think about it. Yes, you do drive a hard bargain. I'll tell you what, I'll get back to you on this one, alright? Ciao. Well, that wasn't quite the outcome I was looking for. Oh well. I think that just about ends this review of the Ghost Rider series. I enjoy it quite a bit, and I think you would too. Well, at least some of you. It's fun to read, has some seriously cool action, and the character development is lacking, but in my humble opinion, the situations that the characters are in almost make up for it. And if you're interested, maybe pick up a trade paperback just to keep up with some of the story before you jump in. This is Josh saying, keep riding, you flame-headed icon for badassness. Yours is the bike that will pierce the heavens. And as for the rest of you, I'll come up with a catchphrase later. I don't really have one right now. I haven't said anything memorable enough. Oh, and please leave comments if you have any complaints, suggestions, or just want to tell me you liked it. That'd be awesome. I will see you next time on Josh's Modern Marvel.